Thank you so much for joining us again on this edition of Capital Market, brought to you from the staple of Channels Television, your award-winning station. I'm Temple Ashaju. The consistent interventions of the Central Bank of Nigeria in the foreign exchange market has now totaled $2.27 billion after 12 times of injections of the greenback in the retail end of the market and the forwards OTC. Now, the questions have also been asked how real this intervention is. Is it sustainable, and what does it look like in terms of the future of the market? What does the future hold for the Nigerian financial market, especially the Naira, that investors has gained some 25% since the activities that began in February? No doubt, the regulator has excellent interventions for the financial system. But what are the implications of these interventions for the Nigerian capital market, where you have equity, where you have bonds, where you have T-bills, and a lot of all of this? If any, what has it changed? And if none, what would investors like to see on the market? This will be our focus on the program Capital Market this evening. As we commence, we will be joined later on the show by an analyst from Pan-African Capital. But basically, let's begin right now with some stories in the market. Some of the stories that shaped earnings this week, and of course investments. And of course, we'll take one earnings coming in from Okomu Oil Palm, the financial year calendar of that company, which was disclosed this week. We'll begin with that, which is the NSE agriculture sector listed company, Okomu Oil Palm, this week released an over 80% growth in profits after tax for the period ended December 2016. The company's revenue had surged some 48% to 15.3 billion naira from 9.73 billion naira in 2015. The absence of a tax on the company's plantations, company and staff contributed to the impressive earnings, which yielded a successful year. And in anticipation of better sentiment toward the share price of that company going forward, the board has recommended the payment of 1 naira 50 kobo as dividend, totaling 1.43 billion naira to be paid out to investors from all that was garnered in 2016. Okomu Oil looks forward to the reality of an expansion program this year. Now, the commercialization of Nigerian football clubs is now close to reality, as the pilot leagues were able to interface with their preferred financial advisors this week. On the screen right now, you see the list of leagues that have been approved for listing on the NASD OTC going forward. And of course, across each of the leagues there, you have the names of the financial advisors. But a meeting which held in Lagos this week had the league management company in attendance, as well as the leadership of the Nigerian professional football leagues present. The meeting, which was facilitated by the NASD OTC Securities Exchange, witnessed some significant details provided by the Chief Executive Officer of the LMC, Mr. Onduko Urabo.
We would like to have this done by the end of September. You have your task well cut out. Luckily, we do have presence in Lagos and Abuja, and I assure you, our chairman and all those of us on the board to facilitate your job are not caught up by the spirit of bureaucracy. We are very open. We're ready to work 24 hours if you can reach us. And we do not have the protocols that require pre-arranged appointment. Everything that we need to do, we realize that the time is tight, but we need to cash out on the board. Perhaps to give you a pointer, this is like a rising tide. 4 years ago, when the league management company came into being and became operators and regulators of the league management itself, we had fewer than 2,000 persons on the average at most of our match venues. To appreciate how well people have come back to the game, what work has been done, we have easily verifiable figures of 10,000 average. And that number is only held down by a few political upheavals in some parts of the country, and the rush to help streamline the program some of our matches are taking place midweek, where people are actually at work. Maybe that number would have risen, but there are common spectacles on TV and newspapers to see people, those who have the nostalgia of the 70s and the 80s and thought football was dead in Nigeria. No, football is very much alive. The crowd we have at Enugu Stadium, we have at Kano Township Stadium, at the Jos Rangbank Stadium, is a reminder and a good testimony to that football is very much alive. Your work is to help give it meaning, to convert it to a money-making venture rather than a social mobilizer or an empowerment process, which political appointees tend to do. Do not mistake what I'm saying. Political appointees do have a major role. After all, they are critical stakeholders. They are also members of the community. They can show you where the skeletons are hidden. However, as we well found out, they are passionate, they are public-driven, they like common cause, but they are not really business managers. That is what is missing in the game, and that is what we are hoping that your new investors can do. So if people ask, what's in it for me, please ask them the story about the growth of leagues elsewhere. You have a passion to drive. Over time, the gestation period might be long, but hey, we haven't even started scratching the ground. There is so much that can come in. It's just that we haven't had the right managers working under the right environment. To better understand what I'm saying, in our seasons not too long ago, 14 of our managers were changed before the end of the season. In that kind of environment, you do not have sustained, dedicated work. But if you have different managers not pushed by political consideration, perhaps you have managers who would keep all their time and make success of what the assignment is. Again, like I said, we are here. Everything can be said at this point, but we're available to you to answer the questions you need.